Hello, I'm Rex Childhouse, and because things on the internet seem to lose their date references pretty easily, today is Monday, April 8th, 2024. We are in San Diego County, Ramona, California, Southern California, and with the eclipse today, we had about 52-53% coverage, I think. First contact for us was about 10:03 this morning. Final contact was about 12:23, so it was almost 2.5 hours long for us. And we were using our two Celestron telescopes, one reflector, one refractor, both with solar filters on them, and we were using 3 different cameras, and you're going to see photos from those various cameras and through those telescopes. And we had fun with this. We were outside for the entire time. We didn't see a significant decrease in temperature. It was about 2-3 degrees. We didn't see a significant wind change. The stuff that the people in total totality had, we didn't see any of those extremes. And we did have one cloud come over the sun during the eclipse, and in the telescopes you couldn't even see it was there. So let's get on with the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Our telescopes are set up or just placed for the eclipse April 8th, 2024, which is a Monday, and we're in San Diego County. We're in Ramona, California. We're only supposed to get about 52, I think, %. We're not going to get totality. That will occur Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, Illinois, Makanda, Illinois, which is only a couple miles away from Carbondale. They're going to have maximum periods, and I went to college, Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. Anyways, both these telescopes have their eclipse filters installed, and I'm just going to move over to our reflector and show you what it is. I'm going to pick it up and take it towards the sun, and that's what you can see if you're just looking through the filter. Very dark. It does change the color, and do not, if you've got a telescope, do not look through these to align your scope. What you want to do is you want to look at the shadow and get the shadow as close to round as possible. And I'm gonna set ours so we can move it. We won't have the sun there. That's probably as close to round as possible vertically. Then I can move it horizontally, and that's probably as close to round as possible horizontally. And both telescopes get set up the same way. We're using one reflector here on the left, one refractor here on the right. The refractor is set up for camera work, and the reflector is the more powerful tool, and we're going to have fun. There are some statements or things, you know, how when the eclipse is over, can we look at the sun again? The answer is no. You should never look at the sun directly without protection. And it's not because of the eclipse. There's no special sunlight. The sun is the brightest thing. Your eye will just magnify its intensity and damage the retina of your eye. And not a good thing, because most of that damage can't be corrected. You have retina burns or whatever else. So let's get on. We're going to set up the cameras, a smart camera on the refractor, and get some photos. We're about 2 minutes away from the start of the eclipse. The smartphone is set up on the cameras. Both telescopes are set up. We're using the reflector on the left to watch it with our own eyes, and we're using the refractor on the right to catch the photos of it. And it's a cool day, so we don't have a whole lot of heat distortion in our visibility, and I'm going to flash up to the sun and get wiped out. Joyce is working on the reflector and getting it fine-tuned in this photo. And this was a photo we took hand holding the the Eclipse filter, as they refer to it, even though it's a solar filter, with one of the cameras with, I think, her iPhone. Outside air temperature as we started this right at about 9:50 in the morning was 55 degrees, and it did drop a couple of degrees. And the first photo that we've got, or the first photo we're using, was taken at 9:51 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Our skies were clear, pretty much clear, and a couple of clouds are going to come through as you see this one here. One of the things we did was we bought these shutterbug things for our smartphones, hooked up to the telescope, and when you press them, when you link them up Bluetooth, they set the shutters. And the first eclipse photo that we have was timed by the camera at 10:06, according to the statistics or science, whatever it said. The eclipse for San Diego, the city, started at 10:03, so we're pretty close. During the eclipse, we tried some of the things that they talked about using, various sources of holes, with mixed results. I'm using a Celestron StarSense Explorer DX102 and a 26mm eyepiece. I think my order of magnification is 16 power. Don't hold me to that. I'm an amateur. I'm a stargazer. I'm not even an amateur astronomer. And I'm using a Samsung Ultra 23 Ultra smartphone hooked up to the eyepiece. The Earth rotates 15 degrees per hour, 360 degrees, full circle divided by 24 hours. So throughout the 2.5 hours that Ramona was working with the eclipse, from about 10:03 to about 12:23, I think, we were chasing those, keep the telescopes aligned the entire time. So in this video, you're seeing 3 different camera projections, and most of them are going to be from my Samsung Ultra 23 hooked up to our refractor telescope. This one here is from Joyce's iPhone, held up to the eyepiece of the refractor. The refractor is a Celestron 114AZ, and it has a 26mm eyepiece in it as well. The previous photo was taken with Joyce's iPhone held up to the reflector's eyepiece, and this is with the Samsung Ultra 23 hooked up to the refractor eyepiece. And the difference in the orientation of the covered area of the sun is because of how the eyepieces are mounted on the tubes. About 9:45 in the morning, when I started setting up, the outside air temperature was 55 degrees. This was the lowest temperature that I saw photographed during the entire eclipse. We lost about 3 degrees during the eclipse. We only had partial coverage, so it wasn't that much. We didn't feel any distinct difference in wind or anything along those lines. This panoramic of the area was at about 10:57 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. To give you an idea what it looked like in our area, we were probably at about 45% coverage at that point. Our maximum was going to be about 52. This first shot is Joyce's from Joyce's phone using the eyepiece on the reflector, and came out really well. And then just looking through the refractor again, This first photo is a still shot from about 9:45 in the morning. The scopes are generally pointed at the sun. You can see that by their shadows. They're pretty close to round. And the second shot is a still shot from my handheld camera, and shows, which you can't pick it up real well, but the scopes have now turned clockwise about 20 degrees in the time frame that we've been watching the eclipse. If you noticed a shadow alignment on our checkerboard, this is our outdoor checkerboard, 12-inch squares, and we play it with 11-inch diameter checkers. You can see how the shadows have, how the sun has moved, how the shadows have changed. It's probably 45 degrees of shadow differential here. One of the issues that became apparent while creating the video was our two smartphones, my Samsung Ultra 23 and Joyce's iPhone, worked very well for identifying when the photos were taken. The photos that I took with my handheld camera, evidently the time is off, so I'm going to show you those at the end, because otherwise they're just screwing up the sequence. The filter is on the camera, on the telescope, and filter comes off, filter goes back on, filter comes out. That's how bright. Wow, that's hot. That is stinking hot, really quick. And if you do that, if you leave your telescope like that, they tell you the lenses and stuff will crack. 11:29 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and the first couple of these photos are from the refractor telescope, and then a photo from Joyce's smartphone using the reflector telescope. About 11:40 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, we are about 2/3 of the way through the eclipse, and the last photo is from Joyce's iPhone. Both of these telescopes have these finders. They're aiming dots. They have wide field of views, so you can get the telescope to really close to what you want to see. And they warn you during eclipses, when looking at the sun, don't use those. And you can see how the sun's coming through this one here, gives us this nice blue dot. And here's the blue dot off this guy over here. But they warn you, don't use those because you're looking at the sun, and it's not special light during an eclipse. You should never look at the sun directly without using proper filters. This is the mount that goes onto the eyepiece of the telescope, and it will fit just about any eyepiece, any standard eyepiece. I think they're 1 1/8 inch diameter eyepieces, whatever. It'll fit various eyepieces of the telescopes on various types of telescopes, and how the smartphone attaches into it. First contact for Ramona was about 10:03 a.m. and last contact is going to be about 12:23 p.m. So it's just under 2.5 hours, and at this point we are about 2 hours into it. So we're about 4/5, 80% of the way through the eclipse. At about 80% of the way through the eclipse for us in Ramona, Southern California. This is our photos of the eclipse as it was waning, WANING, decreasing effect. Waxing is when it's increasing, waning when it's decreasing, and the one photo from Joyce's iPhone held up to the reflector. The smartphones are showing 12:18 for a time, Pacific Daylight Time on these, and we have 5 minutes remaining, and these are the last shots that we have, and then we'll see what else we can come up with. If there's a bit of the sun blocked out here, whether it's factual image, our clocks are just a little bit off, the geography, the mathematics are just a little bit off, theoretically the eclipse is over at this point, and this is what we can see now. We're using our telescopes with the lowest power eyepieces that we have, so that we can see the entire eclipse through the telescopes. When we go to our most powerful eyepieces for the telescopes, we can actually see details on the surface of the sun. Here are some photos that Joyce took by holding her camera up to the eyepiece of the reflector telescope, and they came out really well. In wrap-up, we were outside almost 3 hours, set up, photographed the eclipse. So we were out from about 9:45 in the morning to just past 12:30, and it was kind of cool. We lost about 3 to 4 degrees during the eclipse. We didn't lose the big massive one. We had one cloud, and this is the photo, that came over the sun during the eclipse, and the photos, it's not even apparent in the photos, and this photo was taken with my handheld camera, and looked in the telescopes, and you couldn't even see that a cloud was there. It didn't interfere with us at all, so we got really lucky. It was a super day to view the eclipse, and temperature was nice. It was cool, so we didn't have a lot of heat distortion in the atmosphere, and we didn't have heat distortion in the telescopes. The sun wasn't heating up the telescopes, but I'll tell you what, if you took the solar filters, the eclipse filters as they're called, off the telescopes, their eyepieces, and the light that came out of them was really hot. So in closing comments, the eclipse does not have special light from the sun, and that's not what damages your eye. What damages your eye is the standard light from the sun. Anytime you want to look directly at the sun, you do need to protect your eyes with proper filters. Welding goggles, I think they say 12 to 14 or higher. The paper eclipse glasses you see are limited life. If they're more than a year old, don't use them. Or you can buy filters for telescopes and use those. Enjoyable. We really had fun with it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our video.